Hey, what's up? My name is George Moss. I am founder and visionary here at OXEN Apparel. So let me tell you how this whole thing got started. Back in 2011, I found myself out on the biggest Christian concert tour in the entire world. As an independent Christian artist that has been trying to make it in the music industry for a long time, this was like a dream come true, to ride on a tour bus with some of the biggest names in Christian music and playing sold out shows in arenas night after night. It was absolutely an amazing experience. And mind you, I am by no means like a headliner on this show or even like an artist on this roster. Like, I'm just a hype man for a guy named KJ52, which I was able to tour with for years before that. But nonetheless, I am out there on this tour, and this is what I had dreamed about being able to do as an artist. And night after the concert, I would go up on the concourse and I would sign autographs and take pictures and do the artist meet and greet type stuff. And it was really cool, but it was weird because every night it seems like somebody was coming up and asking me like, yo, where'd you get your hat from? Where'd you get your shirt? Where'd you get your shoes? And I just, tell them I got it at the mall. And it was weird because like they would literally go to the mall and buy the same hat or shirt or something I was wearing and take a picture of it and send it to me on Twitter. And be like, yo, I got the same hat you were wearing. And I was like, yo, you didn't even buy my music. What's up with that? Now, I didn't think much of it until after the tour was over and I went shopping again at the mall. So the brand that I was rocking the whole tour long that people were going out to get actually came out with this new collection at the store, and it had all these pictures of like these half naked women on the front of the shirts, like either like in a bikini or in a wet t-shirt washing a car or something. And the scripture immediately hit me from Matthew 6:21, where it says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. This is where my heart was. This is where I was putting my treasure in. And this is the brand that I was giving my treasure to, giving my heart to. This is what I was influencing this audience that I had to actually go out and purchase and put their treasure and put their heart into. Needless to say, I was super convicted. So if you know anything about me, once I like get onto something, I start to research it till I could find out everything. So I started researching every brand that I was wearing in my closet. Where did they come from? Who the owners are? What's the mission statement? Not only did I not find a brand that I could really identify with, I realized that half of the clothes and the shoes that I was wearing were made by companies that were completely anti the faith and the morals that I had. And for the first time in my life, I found myself really doing some soul searching, trying to figure out who I am and what I actually represent. Like, understanding a brand isn't just the logo, it's the reputation, it's the identity behind it. Because see, the brands that we buy are in a way a reflection of who we are. And we buy particular brands for that same reason, because we identify with them. So it led to me asking myself, like, who am I really and what do I want to be known for? And the more I searched, the more I really started to think about how I defined success personally. Because at that time, my music was just starting to get noticed by a few people in the industry, and I was far from making a bunch of money by doing this, but I was able to quit my job at the YMCA at the time and, do music full time. But when I really started to look at the sacrifices I was making to invest in my career, I felt like if my only return on investment was money or fame or recognition by the music industry, it was all like King Solomon put it in the book of Ecclesiastes, where he said it is vanity. It's all vanity. But one night I'm going through the book of Matthew and I come across chapter 11 verse 28, and it says, come to me all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Now, I probably read that verse a million times before, but it really just jumped out to me. It's like, I don't need to try to focus on any amount of earthly success or accomplishments that'll eventually pass away. All I need to do is just come to him and he will provide rest. But what really jumped out to me was in the next verse, where Jesus says, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I'm gentle and lowly in heart, and you'll find rest for your souls. And I just had to Google it because I didn't know what a yoke was at the time. And the yoke is this wooden tool that farmers would use to put on the back of oxen, and that yoke could then be attached to like a plow or a wagon or these huge logs that they would use to do all the heavy lifting around a farm. But also that yoke was used to describe a certain type of teaching. Every rabbi would have a yoke that they would teach. Like the Pharisees had a certain yoke, and the scribes had a certain yoke. The Sadducees had a certain yoke. And Jesus was saying, take my yoke. He had his own certain yoke that he was trying to teach. And Jesus is using this example of a yoke to contrast the popular doctrine of the time of the scribes and the Pharisees. They had a very works-based salvation type of teaching, where you had to do all these things in order to be accepted by God. And in fact, later on in Matthew chapter 23, Jesus is talking about the scribes and the Pharisees when he says, they tie up heavy burdens, hard to bear, and lay them on people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to move them with their finger. And the reason why this really jumped out to me because I was looking at my own life at the time, and it was exactly how I was feeling. I felt like I had to work so hard to live up to a certain standard. I had to be seen by the right people, or get on all the right tours, or take every single show that I could just to get my name and my music out there. And I spent so much time on the road just trying to build my career. And even when I was at home, I was either in the studio recording music, or shooting videos, or sending emails, booking flights, or doing all this other stuff just to try to make it. And I started to think about all the time and effort and energy I was willing to sacrifice. And I was missing out on time with my son. I missed family events. All for what? When I unpacked this verse, Jesus was saying, just come to me and I'll give you rest. There was nothing that I needed to do to impress him. There was no fee. I didn't need to set up a meeting or buy him lunch. I could simply just come to him. But keeping with the analogy of the scripture, when an oxen first comes to his master, he doesn't just immediately strap a yoke on his back and then throw him out to the field to do work. There's more of a process to it besides that. And I'm quite sure Jesus had this in mind when he was talking to this audience that was full of people that were from an agricultural society, so they knew exactly what it meant for an oxen to carry a yoke. The first thing that a master actually does is he gets a brand put on that oxen. And that brand simply states to the whole world of who that oxen belongs to. So whenever that oxen strays away or gets lost in someone else's field, they can easily be identified and be brought back home to the rightful spot. And when I understood the concept of why each animal is branded, that's when I decided that if I'm gonna wear any brand, I wanna wear a brand that represents who I belong to. And that's how OXEN Apparel was born. Now that's not to say that if you're not wearing a Christian brand, you're somehow a sinner, or God just doesn't want you to wear anything else besides Christian brands. That's not what I'm saying at all. But my personal conviction is that I want to spend my money, my time, my resources, my energy on things and on companies wherever it benefits the kingdom whenever I possibly can. And another common misconception that people have when they see the oxen logo, they think that it's like these horns that are coming out of the oxen. Or I've had people say that it's somehow related to like the Taurus zodiac sign, but it actually has nothing to do with either one of those things. See, at the beginning I thought that I was just creating this dope brand that I could wear on stage at shows, but the more I studied the process of what it means to take the yoke of Jesus, or take the yoke of any rabbi, the more I understood why Jesus used that example. Because even after the oxen is branded and he belongs to his master, he's still not ready to carry the yoke yet. There's a whole process involved. The next step in the process is actually placing a ring through the animal's nose. And that's actually what the oxen logo represents. Now that might seem kind of odd if you've never heard of where the oxen brand came from before, but I'll tell you why we got that in the next video. But for right now, just leave me a comment either below this video, to the side, or wherever it is on this page, and let me know how you first heard about the OXEN brand. Did you see me at a concert? Did a friend share this video with you? Or did an ad or something show up in your feed just randomly? I would really want to know. I'll be reading and replying to every single comment, or as many as I possibly can. So thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.